Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. And the Mets did it. They made a big splash finally by landing the one and only, and you guessed it, I knew you guessed it, and that is of course Jerry Blevins. No, I'm kidding. It's kind of funny how the Mets go from giving all of us Mets fans thinking that the next signing would hopefully be a big splash in one of James McCann or George Springer, maybe a Trevor Bauer sooner than later, who knows. But while all that has kind of died down over the past 24 hours after McCann seemed like a lock, really hope that gets done sooner rather than later, they signed Jerry Blevins, the former Met. I love this signing. Normally I wouldn't talk about a minor league type signing for the Mets here, or at least a minor league contract if you will, but Blevins is a different story. He had a very strong career with the New York Mets for a couple of seasons in particular, and has been an analyst for SNY this past year, which led me to believe that maybe he was even retired. So to see this signing really caught me off guard, but I think it's definitely worth a discussion. So that's what I'll be breaking down in today's video. Jerry Blevins, just a background summary on him quick, what he did with the Mets and what he can bring to the Mets next season, which might not be too impactful, but it can definitely be enough to surprise some people, and everything in between, and what we can get a sense of where the Mets are going to be going for the remainder of the 2020 MLB free agency. And also make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you end up enjoying this kind of Mets content. It would really mean a lot, guys. But without further ado, let's get right into this video. Jerry Blevins, who would have thought? On my Friday evening, I'm chilling out, relaxing, and then I get an update from Anthony Tacoma on Twitter that Jerry Blevins has in fact signed a minor league deal with the Mets. I did not guess that. I'm sure you didn't either. No one really did. Jerry Blevins, we all love the guy. He had a very strong stint with the New York Mets for a couple of years, from the span of 2015 to 2018 in particular, and really what has stood out over the past year, as well as him being an analyst for SNY, in which he's done a great job in doing so. I've been really happy to see him on. He's brought some great insight and really showing his Mets fandom outside of being a former player. Just overall such a great guy and really hard to go up against. Like, you cannot dislike this man by any stretch of the imagination. So I find that kind of interesting. But to see the Mets get a guy like him, normally I wouldn't necessarily cover it because of maybe the impact, but he's a different story for multiple reasons. One, you love him. You cannot go wrong with a guy like Jerry Blevins. He's perfect for the locker room again. But two, he's a southpaw bringing into this rotation that currently has little to none from everything that I've seen. The Mets have not brought back Justin Wilson at the time of recording this. I don't believe they have any lefties in that pen, maybe outside of one that's more of a minor leaguer from my knowledge. But when you look at the Mets right now, bringing in a southpaw, even at the age of 37, at 6'4", 182 pounds, you cannot go wrong. This is such a low risk, high reward situation for the Mets. And Blevins, he hasn't played the past season. He did not partake in the shortened season for the Atlanta Braves, even though I believe the last team that he did have a contract with was the San Francisco Giants, but didn't actually play an MLB game for them. Regardless, back in 2019, the last season he played with the Atlanta Braves, he put up some strong numbers in a shortened time. And if you look at his numbers in 45 games played and 32.1 innings pitched, he had a 3.54 ERA, he had one save, he had 37 strikeouts, he had a whip of 1.27, and he had a walks per nine of 4.45, which definitely isn't great. That's been an issue with him in the past with his walks. But his K per nine is 10.3, so strong there. He's still getting those strikeouts with those great off-speed pitches. And if you look at his Mets stint, his 4-year stint really, and what stands out the most is the 2016-2017 season with the Mets, when they had their postseason run in 2016 in particular, when they went to the wild card game against the Giants, I believe. But if you look at in 219 total games played with the New York Mets in his career, and 138.2 innings pitched, he has a career 3.38 ERA and a 1.26 whip, a K per nine of 10.8, and a walks per nine of 4. So not bad numbers at all. Blevins, when he was on during the 16-17 season, he was phenomenal. I loved every second of it. 2018 is where really things kind of got underwhelming, to say the least. He had an ERA well above 4, and that led him to being out with the New York Mets. But since then, he has kind of rebounded a bit with the Atlanta Braves, and even at the age of 37, you can't go wrong here with bringing a southpaw in the pen, and just an infectious type of personality to go back in that locker room, having a familiarity with so many players as it is, especially with being an analyst as well now. This is just perfect in my mind for the New York Mets. Okay, so I know this isn't necessarily the signing that us Mets fans were hoping for, like a James McCann or a Springer, but it's a happy sign nonetheless. I can deal with it for the rest of this Friday night. I'm sure you guys can too. Really just happy about it overall to see him back with the team and seeing what he can do. If anything, if he does remotely anything good next season with the Mets, then that is definitely a plus. There's nothing wrong in that whatsoever. And I could see him kind of get a fire back in his game once again going into next season, with knowing everything about the Mets currently, between Steve Cohen, Sandy Alderson, everything everything in between. He has that familiarity. He knows exactly what they're doing, the direction they're going in. He shared his insight as well regarding the Mets and their organization. So this is just such a win-win situation for them. And now you bring a lefty in the pen. It's just perfect. It's one less thing to worry about. And I know they're still going to go out and make some additions in that bullpen. They're probably going to go for some significant names like the Lean Hendricks video I did just the other day. Make sure to check it out if you're interested. That one really blew up, and I appreciate that a lot, guys. So thank you again. Maybe they'll go after Brett Hand again because they've shown interest. I'll cover that in a future video. I'm sure if assuming they don't sign them by then, or that he doesn't sign anywhere else. I'm on other relievers, but this is a great start for the Mets. Again, getting 2 relievers now in free agency, and hoping that it really starts to build up for something drastic, like not just a McCann, but a Springer, a Bauer, etc. It is such a great time to be a Mets fan. I'm so happy to be sharing this stuff with all you lovely people. You know, I was determined to make a Mets channel sooner rather than later. I'm so happy it's finally come to fruition because I'm enjoying every single second as a dire Mets fan. I'm a huge hockey fan as well. You can check that out in my description down below, my hockey channel with roughly 2.5k subscribers, and that really helped me spark to get in the baseball game as well because I just love talking about the Mets. I watch them just as much as I do hockey and my favorite sports team in hockey. So you can check out that channel if you are in fact interested. But I love this, and I hope you guys do too. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How do you feel about Jerry Blevins back with the Mets on, of course, just a short-term minor league contract, but literally if he does anything remotely good, it'll be a huge win for the Mets for at least this next season. And always make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you ended up enjoying this kind of Mets content. If you're looking forward to more Mets content going forward, trust me, I'll be here to break all the major signings and trades that are inevitably going to happen with the Mets, and I simply can't wait, and I'm sure you can't either. So thank you all so much again, guys. It means an absolute ton. Check out my previous videos. I'll have them right down here below in the end screen in a second, and I'll see you guys next time.